Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a special podcast episode. Special interview tonight, man. I got people already showing up in the chat, man. Welcome in some of my regulars. Nick Beasley Show. Shouts out to you, my brother. Cat Pool, what's going on? Y'all welcome in. Y'all know what to do. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share it to your people. It's a new look. This is not the Sports Talking with JB weekly show. This is a special episode. I got a special guest on the show, man. What's up with you? Callaway Senior. What's going on with you, brother? Doing really good tonight, man. So make sure y'all hit the like button, share, subscribe to the channel. My special guest, Mr. Michael Barker. If you watched ESPN over the past week or so, you probably seen this guy. This face looks familiar. National championship game. He gets interviewed. I saw it. I said, wait a minute. I know this guy. I met this guy. So, Michael, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, JB. Thank you for having me. We sat next to each other at the 100th Turkey Day Classic in Montgomery, Alabama, and it was good connecting with you then. And I'm glad that you stayed on the travels. And I'm surprised as anybody to be able to be on ESPN Game Day and College Football Live. So it was a good way to cap off the season. And, I'm very grateful to join you and your audience here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The man living the dream, brother. Yes. So I'm excited, to be able to do this interview with you because you are definitely living the dream, my brother. 104 college football games in one season. Let's just start right there. How does that get done, brother?
So last year I did 90 games, and in the comments, everybody said, can you do 100? And, first of all, I've been traveling since 2017. I've seen a game at all 134 FBS schools. I've been to 95 out of the 129 FCS last year. Like I said, 90 last year. And then in the comments, can you do 100? And I didn't think it was possible, but two things happened. They added an extra week to the regular season, and then the college football playoff expanded the postseason. So I got on my preseason schedule, I got 100, and then a couple got added. I found a Sunday game at a Georgia Military College. I found a Sunday game at Oberlin College and, just added a couple. There was even a Hurricane Helene reschedule game. It was Presbyterian and Davidson got moved to a Sunday. So, while some people are flying away from the hurricane, I'm going right towards it just to try to put up numbers. But that was the goal, to try to hit 100 this year after doing 90. Twitter asked for it, and I wanted to give them what they asked for.
Yeah. So if y'all watching this on Twitter, y'all asked for this. I called myself the man of the people. Nah, brother, you the man of the people. You are the GOAT college football fan in my eyes. You've attended all those games, bro. So
I appreciate it.
The travel. Let me ask you this on personal, because I thought I was doing it by going to all the Alabama games. So I have a streak. I had a streak that I ended this year. I went 3 straight years going to every Alabama home game.
Wow.
I thought I was doing something. Nah, brother. You have been to more games in one whole season than I've been in my whole life. That's crazy, brother.
It's wild, especially when October and December or November roll around, because they play all those Tuesday and Wednesday games like the MACtion and the Conference USA. So you do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I always go to 2 games on Saturday, a noon game and a night game. So that's 6 in a week. 4 weeks in a month, that's 24 a month. Do that 3 months, that's 72 games in the regular season. And then, you go from there with postseason games.
That's crazy, man. So I pulled this right here, man. So you actually, this is one of your schedules, right?
Yep.
Man, explain this to me, like the travel in this. So starting, this was October 8th to the 13th. So you went to, was that 7 games in 5 days?
7 games in 6 days. So that it started with a Tuesday. So from October 4th to the day after, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, I went to 52 games in 59 days. And so I live in California, and a lot of times when you got a Sunday night game in Alabama and then you have a Tuesday game in Virginia, there's no point of going home, because you would just get home at like 4 o'clock on a Sunday and fly out Monday night at 6. So I just stay on the road most of the time. So this particular one was interesting because you can see that Wednesday Jacksonville, Alabama game in the middle. And so Tuesday, Virginia, Wednesday, Alabama, Thursday, back to Virginia, Friday, College Park, and then a doubleheader, Morehead State and Kentucky. And then Oberlin, Ohio, there's, I think, like 763 ranked teams in college football, and they were ranked like 759. So we're talking about like one of the most obscure games you can find anywhere. But I flew into Raleigh-Durham, drove to Virginia for Liberty. Then I drove back to Raleigh, flew to Atlanta for Jacksonville State, back to Raleigh to drive to JMU, and then JMU and Maryland are driving distance, then drove 8 hours from Maryland to Kentucky, and then drove 5 hours to Oberlin, Ohio on a Sunday. And that game was at noon, and I flew out of Cleveland that night, 7 p.m. and got out of town. So zigzagging everywhere.
Wow, man. I mean, and you've done this like on a weekly basis. On a weekly basis, this is your routine pretty much, right?
Yeah, so last year I did 69 regular season games. This year I did 77. There's 14 weeks. So if you go to one game per Saturday, that's 14 games. We're talking about 77 games. So, do the math. 15 times 5 is 75. So that's even more than 5 games per week. So, yeah, it's a process. I tell people like planning is almost as much fun as going to the game just because it's a challenge. You want to see the maximum that you can do.
Yeah. Yeah, and you did the ultimate, bro. You did the ultimate. So I pulled some pictures, man. If y'all got any questions in the comments, man, put the questions in the comments. And this is one right here. And I already know your favorite stadium, but go ahead and answer that question from Miss Cat Pool.
Yeah, so Miss Cat, I tell people my favorite stadium is the Sun Bowl in El Paso, and it probably would be like number 60 if you asked your everyday college football fan. But the reason I like it so much is it's at 4,000 foot elevation. It's carved into 2 mountains. It's literally divided. There it is right there. Yeah. That mountain, those mountains behind there, the highway divides the United States and Mexico. So when you look out in the valley, you're looking at Juarez, Mexico. It has the second longest running bowl game behind the Rose Bowl, built in 1963. My dad played college football back in the day. He played 2 games there as opponent. So for me, it's almost like Baskin Robbins. What's your favorite flavor? Do you like the 100,000 seats? Do you like the scenic? Do you like the small? What do you like? But for me, this place speaks to me the most. And when you get boots in the ground and you walk around that place, you just realize how cool and beautiful the setting is.
Yeah, man. Listen, and I knew that, so I had to get that picture. Nick calling you to go. You are the GOAT.
Thank you, Nick.
Man, yeah. So, that right there, it looks nice. That's UT EPL,
Texas El Paso. Yeah. So they play the Sun Bowl game every New Year's Eve, and it's like a 2:00 day game, and it's one of the UTEP for their own games. They don't sell out very often, so if you're looking to go for vibes and atmosphere, go to that game New Year's Eve 2:00. It gets about 45,000 people, and it's honestly one of my favorite bowl games to go to.
Wow, man, that's awesome. So did you go to another game that day?
On which day?
When you went to the Sun Bowl, to the actual game.
So I didn't get to go to the Sun Bowl this year because I had a cool opportunity. ESPN sent me to the Rose Bowl to promote this experience. It was called the Beyond the Rose experience. And so it was cool. So I got a front row pass to the Rose Parade, and Sonic Boom of the South played there, and I had just saw them a couple weeks ago at the SWAC championship game in Jackson, and they stole the show. It was amazing. And then we got a police escort from the parade up to the Rose Bowl, and there was like a VIP tailgate, and they had a couple of celebrities there, and then went to the game and did some preseason stuff. So people paid good money to be at this thing, and I just got hired to come and promote it, which was very cool. So the reason I couldn't go to the Sun Bowl game is because that was on New Year's Eve, and I needed to be New Year's Day 7:30 in the morning in LA, ready to go for the Rose Parade. So I ended up going to, it's called the Texas Bowl. It was Baylor LSU in Houston, and then I caught like a 7:00 flight. I landed in LA at 10:30 at night, so I was able to be there in the morning for the Rose Parade.
Yeah. Man, I know you got some frequent flyer miles and some points on them hotel. Man, listen, that traveling dude. So all right, you've been doing it how many years?
Since 2017, so 8 years.
Damn, that is crazy. So if y'all just joining me, man, this guy here, college football campus tour, he goes everywhere. Now I'm about to ask you. I know you came to Montgomery. That's where I met you at.
Yep.
It was at ASU Stadium. Have you ever been to Crampton Bowl here in Montgomery?
I have a couple times. So in 2020, it was the FCS Kickoff Championship. I think it was Austin Peay versus Central Arkansas, and that was the first COVID game, and they only allowed 10% capacity. There was like maybe 1,500 people there. So on the downside is you didn't get to enjoy the atmosphere, but you got to explore the stadium. And then last year in the bowl season, I did the Crampton Bowl, the bowl game, and then I did that at noon, and then at night I did the 68 Ventures Bowl in Mobile. So I did 2 bowl games in one day. So yeah, I've been there twice, and I'm a stadium head. You can tell by the which stadium that I say is the favorite. I like old stadiums. I grew up around old stadiums, so Crampton Bowl has some great history, and new ASU stadium is incredible. But that being said, there's some magic historical vibe that you get at the Crampton Bowl.
Yeah, that Crampton Bowl, man, been standing up. It just stood the test of time. They did little, renovations here and there. I'm in Montgomery from my first football, the blue-gray game back in the day. Yeah, it was my first football game going in the stadium, and the high schools play in that stadium. And I was actually my first media credential for a bowl game. I went to the Salute the Veterans Bowl this past, last month.
That's
and
dope.
It was right there at the stadium. So that was
and
awesome.
The history of that place is crazy. I think it started as a baseball stadium back in the day, and it has hosted so many diverse events. And like you said, it's evolved over time. And, a lot of places, they want to get rid of these old stadiums. And so I'm glad that, Ladd Peoples and Legion Field and Crampton Bowl and all those places are surviving. I hope they all stay exactly where they are.
Exactly, man. So all about Alabama, man, all about these stadiums. And, Alabama always play the Iron Bowl. They play the Iron Bowl there. So you got to keep that, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I believe I've seen a game other than North Alabama, who is getting a new stadium in, I think, 2 years. I've seen a game at every Alabama FBS school or at D1 school, counting FCS as well. So being in California, we don't have college football culture. So to go to Alabama and see people care about, I love it. I love it. And I try to report back home, but people here are pro-centric. They love the Golden State Warriors, the LA Lakers, the Dodgers, so I get my fill when I go to Alabama.
Yeah, true that, man. So I got another question right here from TJ. Have you been to a North Carolina stadium? Of course.
I've been to tons. So I've been to a game at Duke, North Carolina State. Last year I went to the Aggie Eagle Classic at North Carolina A&T. This year I went to a Friday night game. North Carolina Central hosted South Carolina State. I went to that game. What else? I've been to Elon. I've been to Davidson. I know I'm leaving out some. There's one that is on my bucket list that I've been to a couple times, but I haven't seen a game, and that's Winston-Salem State, Bowman Gray. I love that place. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's got a race car track around it. It's a pretty unique stadium, but I still need Campbell. But other than that, I think I've seen a game at every D1 school in North Carolina.
Okay. Yeah, that was a good question. Nick said, are you going to the Senior Bowl?
I'm not. I don't think so. Maybe.
You've been to the stadium, right?
Oh, yeah. So I went to the 68 Ventures Bowl last year. That was South Alabama played a home game there against Eastern Michigan. They killed them. I went to the second game they opened. It was against UAB in 2021. But I would go if I got an invite, but for me to spend extra money to go down there right now, I'm probably not going to do it. So we'll see. I have a basketball trip planned in Michigan in a couple weeks, and just try to keep the ball rolling a little bit. But I would love to if I got an invite.
You got basketball. You go to basketball arenas too, I saw. Yeah,
this year. So Butler is the old movie. The Hoosiers was filmed there, like 1960s movie. I went to Indiana. I went to Purdue. I went to Alabama. They played South Dakota State. It was the game before they started their out-of-conference schedule. I went there, and then I went to Vanderbilt. So try to mix it up. I mean, if I had enough resources, I would be traveling all year. But we're gonna
Man, you
mix them
spend
in.
enough. Dog, you spend enough in travel. So, and I saw when they interviewed you on ESPN, you don't spend no money at the concessions. So, how do you eat, brother? Like, what do you do? Do you eat before the game? What do you do?
Yeah, so I got rules. Rules are: don't buy concessions, don't pay for parking, don't buy airport food. Try not to stay in a hotel. Rough it in the rental car or the airport. I just traveled to Atlanta for the national championship. I just sat in the airport, then I took an Uber to the game, and then I took an Uber back to the airport. So it's called the glamour life, sarcastically. But when I land somewhere, I get a rental car and I Google, grocery store near me, and I go to a Kroger, I go to a Publix, I go to wherever, and I'll just bring, protein bars or food that I can stuff in my pockets, and then go to the game, and then afterwards try to find something open, a Waffle House, a Buc-ee's, something like that. So it's definitely, last year I lost 11 pounds during the season. You under eat, the nutrition's bad, all that, but it's worth it, man. It's all worth it.
It's all about the dedication, brother. I mean,
yeah, absolutely,
man. Listen, dude, it's awesome, bro. Yeah, you're right. And that's the little nuances of going to the games, but the time in between, that's the crazy part. The time in between.
I'm sure you've heard people say they want to go to a particular game, and then they go, "Oh, did you see the hotel prices? They're crazy." Well, if you could just wrap your mind around, like, we're not getting a hotel. We are, after the game, we are leaving and we're driving 5 hours back, or we're getting up early. And so sometimes that's not possible, but I will tell you, I don't want to over exaggerate, but it's like a liberating experience to know that you can survive on the road and not have to have, a $200 hotel or, a fancy restaurant to eat. And so once you get out there, it's almost like a game. I sleep at a rest stop, and I wake up in the morning, I do like a Tiger Woods fist pump and joke that I just saved $120, so you try to make a game out of it.
Yeah, I mean, and those ticket prices in Tuscaloosa for those home games, those hotel $500-$700 a pop. Wow. Yeah. So exactly, bro. So you are a big Buc-ee's fan, dude. So what's your favorite thing from Buc-ee's?
Oh man. So first of all, we don't have Buc-ee's in California. I call it, it's like, you go to Times Square in New York and it's busy at 2:00 in the morning. There's Buc-ee's in Leeds, Alabama at 2:00 in the morning on a Tuesday. It's lit over there. So, I like the Rhino taco. I like the XXL brisket burger. I like the Beast breakfast burrito, and, I just load up on it. So I was there, New Year's, you go and you're celebrating at Buc-ee's while everybody else is counting down the new year with, their loved one at home. So that's where I got to celebrate.
That's awesome, man. You had some Buc-ee's gear too, so I mean, they need to sponsor you, dude.
That's part of the press, man. So I'm trying to. I wore a Buc-ee's jacket at the national championship. I went to the Rose Bowl and I posed with a photo with Reese Davis with a Buc-ee's shirt on. So you have an outsider, quote unquote, a person who has never seen a Buc-ee's in his life other than through his travels, which just loves the place. And so I'm a road guy, and I think it would be a very authentic sponsorship. So you're preaching to the choir, man.
I know. Hey man, so tell me about the Rhino burrito. Like, I never had that.
Well, it's, what's the other one? There's another one there too. So honestly, it just depends on what is fresh on the tray when they come out with it. So sometimes it's the beef, sometimes it's the Rhino, but I'm just all about flavor, and that thing is flavorful. And God, I can't remember the other one. There's somebody might know in the comments. There's a Rhino, and it sounds like it's another animal too, but it's delicious.
I wonder if it's a real Rhino. Is it real Rhino meat? Because I don't know. What's the craziest thing you've ate, brother? Like on the road? Like, what's the craziest thing you've eaten on the road?
So I will tell you that it's not. I don't like to admit it. Okay. So, those cooked rice packets you get at the store, and then you put them in the microwave and 90 seconds and you eat them and you got warm, delicious rice. There's a lot of times where I don't have a microwave and I'm just eating
the cold rice, bro.
Yeah, the cold rice, So I remember I was at a game and I was walking up to the parking lot and I had food. It was one of those rice packets. The guy goes, "You can't bring food in here." I was like, "This really does not qualify as food." Like, this is what. So that day we were at, at Montgomery. That was probably the best pregame food of the season. The way you remember that?
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, they fed us like a Thanksgiving lunch because the game was on Thanksgiving, Turkey Day Classic, and when we got there, I wasn't expecting it either because that was my first time being up there. So, they had a whole spread, a whole layout. You had turkey dressing, ham, mac and cheese, the whole get up right there, and we just helped ourselves on food. So I know you did you get 2 plates?
I got 2 plates. I got some in my pockets. You know, it felt like Thanksgiving. It really did, because the previous 2 years I had gone to the Egg Bowl, one in Oxford and one in Starkville, and I didn't get credentialed. You know, I don't always get credentialed, especially by P4s, just because I think P4s are a little scared of social media people, especially because I do some of those obstructed view seats and they look at them as negative sometimes. But I got credentialed for this one and walked in there, and that was a legit like Thanksgiving feast. So I don't usually spend that much time in the press box. I like to be out in the field, but that day, there was a lot of me in the press box over there.
Yeah. You was right next to me. That's how we met, man. I was right there. You was right next to me, and then you went and took some incredible pictures, man. I'm gonna get to these pictures in a minute. Kat got one more question. She said, "I'm from Louisiana. Who has the best boudin?"
Oof, man, you're killing me here. Maybe Baton Rouge maybe is the best place I had it. I would take some more recommendations, but I feel like I've been everywhere, and I've been to Monroe, I've been to Grambling, I've been to what else? Louisiana Tech, what's Ruston? So maybe in Baton Rouge, but if you have any particular recommendations, I would actually absolutely take them.
LSU game, how many have you been to in Baton Rouge?
So I've been to 2. 2018, they played Georgia, and this was the year before Joe Burrow was Joe Burrow. He ran like 21 times for like 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was a running quarterback in that game. And Georgia was ranked number 3. They beat him 36-16, rushed the field. And then this year I went and they played South Alabama, and it was only $24. And so if you're trying to save money and you know that LSU is going to sell out every home game and you're going to get great pictures, you might as well go there. So went there, they killed South Alabama. So 2 LSU games. My dad played college football. He played 1 year at BYU and 2 years at a school called Pacific, which now just plays basketball in California. And he played as an opponent in LSU back in the day. So I have a little, a little connection there.
Okay. Awesome. She said Don's in the best stop. Okay.
All right. Okay, I'm good. So Cajun Field, they're redoing the stadium, and I just saw the Louisiana Lafayette athletic director at the national championship, and he invited me down there. So
awesome.
October of this year, I will stop at Don's.
Awesome. So I got some photos I want to talk about, man. Where were you at right here when you broke the record for the most games? This is 91. So where were you at right here?
So this was a fun day. This was the Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth, Texas. It's played on the campus of TCU. And that game was at 11 o'clock. It was Navy versus Oklahoma, and it was a sellout for a non, college football playoff game, which is incredible. That day, the game was at 11, and I took a flight out of Fort Worth at 4:30, and I flew to Las Vegas. I landed in Las Vegas at 6, and I saw the Las Vegas Bowl at 7:30. That was Texas A&M and USC. So first time I ever saw 2 games in one day with a flight in between. But yeah, this was a special day because I broke my record that I had set the previous year, and I had done it. You can see the date on it. It says 12/27/24, and I was obviously much way ahead of my schedule from the previous year. So it was a great day.
Yeah. Awesome, man. I think I got something else right here.
All right.
So that was, you attended a game at all FBF schools.
Yes. So
Kennesaw State.
Yeah, Kennesaw State. So from 2017 to 2021, I saw a game at all 130. But between 2019 and 2024, there have been 4 schools that jumped up. James Madison, Jacksonville State, Sam Houston State, and then Kennesaw. I had never seen a game. So when I saw them play, it was the upset of the year. They played Liberty on a weeknight. I think it was a Wednesday. Liberty was undefeated, and they had they went undefeated the previous year, except for the Fiesta Bowl. They lost to Oregon. And so it was a big game for me personally to do 134, but honestly, it ended up being the craziest game of the year. Liberty won and everybody rushed the field, and then replay put 1 second back on the clock because the ball landed out of bounds with 1 second. So they put 1 second. Liberty threw another incompletion. Everybody rushed the field. So 2 field rushes in one game. But it was a big deal, like I said, because I had been waiting for Kennesaw. They moved up. They had a transition year, and to get 134 out of 134, I'm not sure if anybody else has that.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Kennesaw, man. They've been doing big things. They had some upsets in the basketball season this year.
Yeah, and they're only about 25 miles from Atlanta. They should be able to recruit really well. The stadium is nice, and it has it's everything is real close to the sidelines, so there's great views. I know they just hired a new coach, and Conference USA, they joined, and they get 2 or 3 national TV games in October. So it's a great opportunity for people to see Kennesaw State.
Yeah. Speaking of views, you are the guy of the obstructed views, right? So
yeah.
I got a couple of those. Like, brother, is this an actual seat?
That is a very famous actual seat. So that's Fenway Park right there. And 2023, I got flown out by Farmers Insurance to rescue fans from bad seats. And so Fenway Park, the way they used to build stadiums is the second level was supported by these pillars, but the pillars, instead of being hidden like we see today, they're load bearing and they're out in the middle. So if you look kind of in the distance of that photo, you can see 4 or 5 of those pillars out there. So that's a real seat. It might say like OBS obstructed on the seat to give you a warning, but a lot of people, they don't know until they go down and sit, and that's their view.
That's crazy. And you can't even get a refund.
No, especially at Fenway Park, because that's like a historic national landmark. They're never going to move it. They're never going to change it. It's just a matter of, do you get a warning or not? And so part of my obstructed view alerts is not just to tell people these exist, to tell them like, okay, this ticket app will tell you if there are obstructed views or they won't. So, and it's comedy too. I just sit there and pretend like I'm watching the game as intently as possible. And meanwhile, I'm staring at a giant beam or whatever, because there's lots of obstructions, especially in college football.
Right. And here's another one. So this is you are partnered with TickPick, right?
Yeah, so TickPick, last year when I did my 90th game, they sent me a DM before the national championship. I had spent $1,300 on a ticket, and they said, congratulations on your 90th game. We want to comp your national championship. And so, I saved $1,300, which was awesome. And also they, got a good response from that. So we decided to partner up this year and put advertising on my back, which is hilarious. But this is at Cowboy Stadium, AT&T, Dallas Cowboys. And so this was for the, the Cotton Bowl, Texas and Ohio State. So you just would never think Jerry World would have an obstructed view, but there it is. And, I put this up on Twitter and I get in the comments, people are like, Nick Saban, or not Nick, Jerry Jones is going to sue you and the NFL is coming for you. And I said, where's the lie? There's no lie. So even the billion-dollar great Cowboy Stadium has an obstructed view.
It does. It has a obstructed view on the field because the way it's built, when the sun sets, it comes right through and then disrupts CeeDee Lamb of catching a touchdown.
I saw that. And, these are the kind of things that as an old stadium fan, an outdoor stadium fan, if you're going to try to make people play outside, I don't feel sorry for you when you have these obstructions. I wish that, but NFL Cowboys, the most valuable franchise in all of sports, there's no excuse for these kind of things.
There's no excuse, man. You're right, man. I mean, come on, brother. You pay good money. You watching the screen anyway, but to have that view blocked like that, that's terrible.
I will tell you. So I sat at that seat 2.5 hours before the game, and I waited for the person who bought it. And when he showed up and he sat there, he was with his family. It was 4 people. And I said, man, I'm sitting here for a reason. And I said, I want to try to advocate for you on social media. You got to tell me the details. So he paid $550 per seat for those. He came from, Amarillo, Texas. So it was a decent drive to the game, and 4 seats. So 4 seats times $550, that's $2,200. And his look on his face he was devastated, and I had actually done this last year at the Cotton Bowl. It was Ohio State and Missouri, same situation, except one guy came from Missouri. The other guy, the Ohio State game, he was a veteran, and they donated the ticket to him. and he had to still pay the transfer fee. And when he sat down, he was angry. And so people always try to minimize it. They're like, oh, it's at least I can watch the video board. It's like, who travels from Ohio or Missouri or pays $2,200 to have to watch a video screen? I mean, it's pointless. So yeah, that's part of the advocacy. But I specifically waited for that person. He's looking at me like, why are you in your seat? I'm like, we got to have a talk right here.
Hey, you was trying to look out, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, Jerry, you wrong. He wrong for that, man.
They know. They know, and these exist a lot of places. So I even saw one I didn't get a chance to do it, but Atlanta for the they have the press box people in obstructed views. So yeah.
Damn. So yeah, it's a couple more here, man. So
there you go.
Wake Forest, is that Wake Forest?
That's Wake Forest. So if you look at that little picture, it is. What they do is they build these outdoor suites, and so you can come and on the other side of the brick wall they have outdoor seating, but it's separated from the rest of the crowd. Well, they didn't take out the bleachers next to the brick wall, so you can see. I always assign a percentage of like how much of the view is, and a football field is 100 yards, so it makes it easy. So that's about like a 36% view, and you can see in the bottom right corner, I put the section number, the row number, and the seat number. So I'm not making it up. It's real, and you can go check it out. But yeah, this is pretty bad. All you can see is this is like a vibe seat. You only can see 20% of the game. You got to just listen to the crowd to know what's going on.
Yeah. That's sick, man. For people to pay that much. Here's another one right here. That's Kyle Field. Look at that, man.
Oh man, that was a fun
man.
Yeah, that was fun to get because it's a big time school. But that's up in the upper levels. I think it's with the 400 section, and you can see about 50% of the field, and then you got people to your right if they stand the whole game, so even less than that. But yeah, this I think that's a camera well that they put there. So inside that brick structure, there's cameras, but the people next to them are it has some bad luck, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, that's I don't know, man. I'm lost for words. This is another one that I was like, oh, that's the same one. This is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Where is that? That is crazy.
Yeah, so this stadium has changed its name so many times it's hard to keep track. So this is Maryland Terrapins in College Park, Maryland. And so it always the same thing at Tiger Stadium, but this is a flagpole, and instead of putting it in the last row and taking out the last row, they decided to put it at the feet of the last row. And the little left photo, I took a photo to show the seat numbers so you can see it, that's the seat number. Yeah. But I always try to exaggerate. I try to have fun. But yeah, this is a real seat, and you can't see nothing.
Yeah. That's crazy. And I mean, especially if you sit right in your seat, because there's going to be people next to you. How in the hell are you supposed to be comfortable sitting like that?
No, you can't. You can't. And like I said, so Tiger Stadium, LSU was built with 12,000 seats. Now it has over 100,000. Neyland in Tennessee was built with 3,200 seats. Now it has over 100,000. So there's all these renovations and expansions, and they didn't do them like all perfectly together. So you roam around the stadiums, you find them. But yeah, I mean, if you're in the seat and let's just say it's sold out and you got people on both sides of you, you got no way of leaning and checking it out. So it's one of the worst in college football right there.
Yeah, that's terrible, dude. That right there, I thought it was fake. Now this is Folsom Field where Colorado plays. So did you go to a game this year or last year?
Yeah, that was last year. It was homecoming. They played. So I did a 2-for-1. I saw Northern Colorado, which is in Greeley. They played at 1 p.m. That's an FCS school. And then 8 p.m. it was Oregon State at Colorado homecoming. That was, their Colorado's 2023 season, I think they started out like 3-0, but once they got in conference, they started losing. And by that time homecoming came, that was Oregon State won 10 games in 2023. DJU was the quarterback. And so this crowd was an unhappy crowd even before the game started. But I love Folsom Field, but it does have I don't know if that's like an electrical circuit box or something, but it's a pretty bad view right there.
Yeah. If you have to sit there, maybe you just have to stand up the whole time.
You do. And I don't think it was sold out all the way so you can move, but it's hard to take these obstructed view seats with once the game starts, because then you're asking people to move out of their seat. So, it's easier to do it. But like I said, I've never, and even if that box weren't there, that you can see a little bit to the left, they have an in zone bleacher suite they created, which also blocks too. So this is and I also think they used to have a track around the field, so the seats right next to the stadium are low. So there's a lot of bad seats on the lower levels of Folsom Field.
Okay, I mean, yeah, man, but you could probably find, and that's what you do, right? You go to each stadium and you find the most obstructive view in the stadium.
Yeah, so it happened to me. That's the reason why I even thought about it. So 2018, I went to Washington State versus Oregon. And This is when it was Mike Leach and Gardner Minshew, and they played Justin Herbert, and game day came. And it was the most expensive seat in the history of Washington State. Everything was going like $700. I found it $250, and it was a single ticket, and I bought it. And when I got there, there's a giant light pole right in front of my face, and I couldn't see, like, the guy, they threw a fade and the guy disappears behind the pole and he comes out the other side with the ball. And so that was the first time it happened to me. And then once I had it happen to me, I started to notice those seats around the stadium. So, I try to take good stadium photos. I try to showcase concessions and things that are going on at the game. But if I can find an obstructed view and put it on social media, I mean, I would say like a third of my followers are just obstructed view people. So I could put up good photos of stadiums and people will say, yeah, get to the obstructed view. So, but yeah, I look for them at every game.
That's awesome that you did that, man. And I figured it happened to you for you to even do that, but you're helping people out. I mean, you doing a good deed.
Yeah, well, it's funny because we look at it that way. But when you apply for credentials, the schools, they take it personally. It's like if you're driving by somebody on the freeway and they got a flat tire and you look out the window, you're like, man, it sucks for them. But then you get a flat tire, you're like, oh, it sucks for me. So it's the same thing when you're on social media and you see all your rival stadiums having obstructed views and you're laughing. And then all of a sudden I come to your stadium and I find an obstructed view. People, they get a little butthurt. But it's supposed to be a social public service. It's supposed to be fun. And I would say like 98% of people see it that way.
Yeah. So let's look at the beautiful pictures you've taken of stadiums, man, because you actually take these pictures. Now we're gonna start with ASU because you took this one. This looks like something. This looks Photoshop. I mean, it doesn't even look real, dude. This is a great picture of ASU Stadium.
Man, well, first of all, thank you. Second of all, I'm on iPhone 16, so I try to take, I don't have any professional gear because, I just am not like that. But I love day games, and I love, especially when you get clouds in the background. This day you were there, it kept going from cloudy to sunny and back to cloudy, but I try to time it out. I have what's called the shot of the game. I try to take it a certain angle, get the press box in, get the scoreboard in. And they put that, great turf in the last, 24 months. So everything about the stadium is great. And then it's just, finding the spot to take the photo and try to do it the best you can. So, this one came out really well.
Yep. Okay, I got another one. This is that's Southern. Is that Southern and Jackson? No, that's Jackson State.
Yeah, so this was the SWAC championship. And, so week 3, I was going to try to go, and they moved the kick time from 1 to 6 p.m. And so I couldn't go because I always go to 2 games in one day. And I was just basically crossing my fingers the whole year that Jackson State would host the SWAC championship. And, I've been to Montana. It has 26,000 people. I've been to Montana State, 22,000. Like some of these FCS schools that are just known for great stadiums and great crowds. Well, the Vet holds 60,000, and in this game, it wasn't capacity, but you're still talking about 45,000 people at an FCS football game. And so, Sonic Boom is great. Southern brought their band too, and this is in the FCS. This is a top 3 stadium for me, and I only had been there for COVID games, so to be able to do this and get a photo like this, it was awesome.
That's awesome, man. Let me see what else I got up here. So this was Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah, this was the Orange Bowl between Penn State and Notre Dame. And, most of the playoff games are played indoors. And so this one being in Miami, put it outdoors, and it's a pretty nice venue. This is where the Miami Hurricanes, they play their home games too. So they have on the top of Hard Rock is it's almost like canopy roof that covers the upper level, and then they have those, you can see that orange kind of pillar there. They have 4 of them, so it looks cool from the top. But yeah, this is a big time venue and a big time event, so I wanted to try to capture it as best as I could.
Yeah, that's a nice one, man. What stadium is this?
This is Notre Dame. This was the playoff game against Indiana, round 1. So this year, the college football playoff, they had first round games on home field, which was incredible. I think it was 24 degrees, so it was not exactly comfortable there. But Notre Dame, you hear all this stuff, you think it's an exaggeration, but when you go there, it is just such a historic place, and the stadium they've done a lot of good things there. But yeah, Notre Dame should be on everybody's bucket list.
Awesome. And I got one that was kind of, I think I saw this last minute, and this was is that the championship? Was that like the playoff FCS?
Yeah, this is the FCS championship. It's Toyota Stadium, which is Frisco, Texas, and it's been there for about 10, 12 years straight. This was Montana State, number 1, undefeated. I don't know if you can call it upset, but they got beat by North Dakota State. This was on Monday, January 6th. And this stadium is actually going to be going under construction for the next 2 years to expand it. So the FCS championship is being moved to Vanderbilt in Nashville. They just finished their stadium, and then after that, they're supposed to come back. But yeah, this is where the FCS championship has been for the last 10, 15 years.
Yep. North Dakota State.
They won it. They're back on top after South Dakota State won it 2 years straight. They beat South Dakota State in the semis, and then Montana State, number 1, undefeated, they beat them too. So they definitely earned it.
Now, this last one here, this was in the Bahamas. Was this the Bahama Bowl?
This was the Bahamas Bowl, man. That was a crazy day because I got in and out of the same day. So the year before, they had moved this game to Charlotte for them to do stadium renovations, and it wasn't done all the way, even when I went there. But this was a huge deal in the Bahamas. So first of all locals got in free. Second, the prime minister of the Bahamas was there, and he was talking with everybody, and there was a bunch of pregame festivities which were cool. And I'd never been to an international college football game, and so I flew to Miami. I took off from Miami at 8 a.m. I landed in the Bahamas at 9:15. I took a $53 cab ride to the stadium, and the game was at 11. Then took another $53 cab ride back to the airport, and then I flew back to Miami at 8 p.m. And then in the morning, flew to Texas. This was game number 99, so I needed everything to go good. But it's just an amazing experience because this is like the biggest, the most important stadium in the Bahamas. They're big on track down there. They've had a lot of Olympics representatives that have won and qualified in the stadium. And part of the reason they're doing the renovations is they want to attract more events. And I also heard that they gave the players like an NIL stipend of $600. And so they went to the casinos pretty much all week before the game. So I know they had a good time both, on the island and at the game.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So who played in that game?
That was Liberty and Buffalo. And Buffalo won, and surprising to a lot of people, but it was fun. I will say that the field was not in the best condition. And I don't know what it was, but everything else was great.
Yeah. But that's cool. They actually gave those guys some NIL for coming out there so they can have a little fun,
They did, and we had Wendy's that was the press box food. So, and we handed that out to people. So, yeah, it was a good time. I mean, for me, like I said, it's the first international game I've ever done. Hawaii is talking about possibly playing a game in Japan. That would be cool.
Oh, wow.
That there's, I kind of want to do the Canadian Football League this summer. That would be interesting. But to cross off something 8 years into what you're doing, a new accomplishment, you always want to try to do those.
Yeah. Yeah. So you didn't go to Ireland to the Florida State game, did you?
I didn't, and it's not because I don't want to. So here's the other side of the question: the Bahamas Bowl was the only game that day, and that Ireland or the Florida State Georgia Tech game, it was week 0, and there were some other on-campus games there. And so part of my goals is to try to see a game at every stadium or be all over the place. So I chose I can't remember what week 0 was, but I chose an on-campus game. I know this year in Ireland is going to be Iowa State, Kansas State. They call it Farmageddon, so Farmageddon is going to be in Ireland.
Yeah, got another question from Kat. Is the Air Force Academy worth going to see?
I think so. So they just renovated their stadium. It just finished at the beginning of this year. They knocked down the roadside bleachers and they put up this suite area, which is really nice. It's, opponents hate to go there. The elevation is like 6,600 feet. And it's different from every other place because you have to get clearance. You go through and the officers, they check your driver's license and then they may check your car. And when you get access to the campus, you're literally on the Air Force Academy. I went to a basketball game there and, but they got military, like planes that are on display and all that. But when you drive up there, that stadium, if you want to go somewhere and go, man, this is like a intimidating football environment just because it's setting up 6,000 feet in the thin air. You got a bunch of the cadets that are in the crowd yelling, and it could get really cold depending on if you go, late October, November. And then the scenery is beautiful because it's up in the mountains. And then, as I mentioned, they upgraded the stadium. So, yeah, if you move to Colorado Springs, I would definitely go and check out a game, and I think you would enjoy it.
Okay. That seems pretty cool. And do you have a favorite college football team?
No. So I grew up in San Diego. I went to a school, UC San Diego, which never had football. I rooted for San Diego State growing up, but as I mentioned, I was a 49ers fan, and part of the reason I gravitated towards college football is because in California, the Chargers left San Diego and went to LA. The Raiders left Oakland and they went to Las Vegas. We got the A's leaving to go to Las Vegas. The Warriors left Oakland and they moved across the bay to San Francisco. Like, you don't get that in college sports. You don't ever hear them say, hey, if you don't improve Bryant-Denny Stadium, we're moving to Mobile, right? Like, that would never do that. So I do have, I go to Hawaii a decent amount, so I love Hawaii. But I think part of like my credibility of being a traveler is I'm really a neutral fan. Like, I give everybody, the opportunity. I want to be a fan of everybody.
That's awesome, man. So you get you being, not having a solid fandom to a team like I am with Alabama State. You get to go to any game you want to go, at any particular time. And, the travel, all the time, the dedication, man, that you put in, I commend you for that, because I don't know anybody that could possibly do this week by week and to go to all these games. It's kind of upsetting they don't recognize you in the Guinness Book, right? But man, you're a legend. You're a legend, dude.
Well, I appreciate it. So the process with the Guinness Book is, first of all, they don't have college football travel most games as a category. So it's $1,000 to appeal, which is not, I would do it. But the second part of it is you have to have 2 witnesses accompany you the whole time. So I thought, okay, if I could get it qualified as a category, at every game, if I talked to the athletic director or the president and had them sign a paper and took a photo, I figured, like, could that be good enough? And they said no. So It's one of those things where it's just going to be a social media record. And, I'm good with that. I'm fine with it. I've had a lot of people that say they have, as a kid, they read the Guinness Book of World Records and they knew the tallest guy and the fattest twins on the motorcycle. Like, it would be fun to be in that book, but I'm not going to let it stop me. But like I said, you could go through my Twitter feed. You could see photos from all 104 games. There's no illusions. It's all there.
Yep. I mean, you famous now because you on ESPN, dude. I mean, they interviewed you at the biggest game of the year. They put your numbers on there, so it's legit, right?
It's legit. I mean, legit. That's Jess Sims. She's got 550,000 followers on Instagram talking to me, and that's pretty crazy. And they got my stats up there. And
Yep.
After my interview, they threw it back, and they told Kirk Herbstreit says I travel a lot, but I don't travel like him. So that was that's some credibility there. But they had me send them my schedule, and they added up how many states I went to, how many teams I saw, and I think I'm the only. I don't know if I'm the only person, but I've seen a game at the national championship game at every level too. So, FBS, FCS, HBCU, D2, D3, NAIA. I've seen all of those. So yeah, I mean, my goal is to see a game at all 263 Division I schools. I got 34 left. I think that takes 2 more years, and that would be a 10-year period. So. I joke that Hawaii is getting a new stadium in 2028. I joke that that's going to be my retirement game, but we'll see. It's an addiction, man. And because you go to games, there's nothing like going to a game.
It's nothing like it, brother. It's nothing like it. I mean, man, especially if the game is on, you could be there. It's that feeling of just being there. It's the atmosphere, it's the vibes of going to that game, So, man.
And the other part is, like, when you watch a game, you can choose how you take it in, right? You can roam some of the time, you can sit some of the time, you can talk to people. When you watch a game on TV, here's the play, here's the analyst telling you exactly what you just saw, here's the commercial, these are what you're watching. And so you have a lot more freedom at the game. And of course, not everybody can get to a game, and they're not going to have home games all the time. But that being said, if there's ever an opportunity between, hey, let's spend $40 and go to the game, or let's stay home and watch the broadcast, you always got to go.
Yeah. So you have been to like NAIA level, like St. Mary's or something like that?
So last year, the NAIA National Championship was in Durham, North Carolina. I think it was Durham something Municipal Stadium, and it was on a Monday at noon. And Kaiser was the one who won the national championship. So I went there. This year, I went to 2 junior college playoff games. It was Georgia Military College in Milledgeville, Georgia, and they played Hutchinson from Kansas, and then Hutchinson won. And then the junior college national championship is funny because it was either the Gronk Bowl in LA SoFi Stadium or the JUCO national championship at West Texas A&M in Canyon, Texas. I did not want to get caught up in some celebrity worship Gronk thing at SoFi Stadium. So I went to the JUCO National Championship. There's about, 700 people there, and it was probably 24 degrees, but I had a good time. So yeah, I went to D3 Oberlin College. I've been to, like I said, the national championships everywhere. So I will tell you the only thing that holds you back sometimes is knowing when the games are. When you go on ESPN, you can see all the P4s when they're playing, all the FBS, even the FCS. But when you start getting to the lower levels, there's not a website that's like, here's all the NAI games that are being played this Saturday. It's hard to find that stuff. So it takes a lot of digging and investigating. But yeah, my saying is football is football. And that's what it is. No matter where it is, team A, team B, roll out the ball and let's watch it. Let's have fun.
Yeah. So you're a real football head, man. I mean, to just go watch any team, any level, and get the experience, sit there, watch the game, no bias. You don't care who wins. You just there for the experience, for the vibes, and just because you just love football and you love watching it in person. That's awesome.
And you know what? I don't like TV, like if you watch a sitcom, it's predictable. And if you watch a soap opera, and especially with I said this the other day, with all these reality shows now, either you're watching people's lives or you're living a life that people are watching, right? Because that's all these shows are now. So I just think that football is the most fun reality show there is, which is going to have a different ending every single time you do it. And if you're an NFL fan and you like Tom Brady, he's there for 20 years and you got to root against him. Well, in college, no matter how good you are, you graduate and then somebody takes your spot. So you don't get that like, oh, I'm going to hate, this guy for the next decade. You don't get that. So I think it's a great reality show. You know it because you've grown up watching it your whole life, and you can go to a game where there's 800 people and enjoy it, and you can go to a game where it's 100,000 people and you can enjoy it. So Baskin Robbins, what flavor do you want?
Yeah, that's crazy. So Last question right here. Do you have a goal to achieve already in mind for next season?
That's such a tough question. So, so my 10-year goal, which I'm 8 years into, like I said, is to see a game at all 263 Division I schools. And so there's 34 left in the FCS, which means I need to do 17 for the next 2 years. So that's part of the goal. There are still there's probably about 9 schools that I think that I only saw COVID games at. And so I would like to replace those experiences this year. Somebody told me maybe I should try to see a game in every state this year. You know, the only one that doesn't have is Alaska, but I don't have a specific goal. They asked me on game day in that interview, can you beat it? I think that I can. Like, I think that I could. Is that what I want to do? And so, Nick, to answer your question, I don't know exactly. It's on the table. It could be anything, but I will tell you, like I said, my 10-year goal, which nobody could match even probably in 20 years, is to see a game at every D1 school. That's my main goal.
And what's the total? It's like
263. And so it's actually, it's going up to 264 because there's UT RVG or RGV, which is University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, is joining FCS this year. And then I just saw a thing that Chicago State is exploring adding an FCS school in 2026. So I need them to stop for a minute. Like nobody add for 2 more years. So, but that would be 18. So the downside of that is when I go to, even though I love the smaller schools, if I go to, like I did a doubleheader this year, Sacred Heart and Central Connecticut State. They're both in Connecticut. Like nobody's ever heard of these, but I did Sacred Heart at 1 and I did Central Connecticut State at 6 o'clock. I'm not getting response on social media. So you have to do this thing where you say, look, let me check off some of my personal goals. And I promise you, I'm going to go to the big games and do that. So a lot of the schools left are not big, and you just have to be able to go there and do it. So, which I want to do, because at the end of the day, 3 years in 2022, if you tell me I waste my time going to, an Elon game, and then 3 years later, I'm 3 schools away from reaching my goal of all 263 schools, it's not worth it. It's not a waste of time. So you just have to kind of laser focus on your goal. But that being said, I definitely will take some public input on what is next.
That's awesome, man. I mean, I don't see how you can beat that. I don't even see how you did it still. I hear you, but I don't really see how you actually did it, man. I mean, it's awesome. It's total, I don't know. I'm surprised, bro. But I know you did it. I know you did it because you have the proof, and everybody can go and follow you right there on the screen at CFB Campus Tour. That's the Instagram and the Twitter, right?
Yep. And I need to get like you and get a YouTube channel. And, people tell me, I did a search of obstructed views, and it said College Football Campus Tour obstructed views on TikTok. And there's 67 million views. And that's other people posting my videos. So I'm leaving a lot of food on the table that I got to scoop up. But I love Twitter. Twitter for college football fans is the most conversational thing. I can't tell you how many people I've met at games. People have sent me free tickets. I've stayed the night at people's house. They've given me airport rides, that sort of thing. So, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see me very active. And even in the off season, I try to, come up with interesting content. I'm going to go to I'm going to try to do 1 trip per month, whether it's college basketball, college hockey, college baseball, and then, try to ramp up, go to some spring games and maybe do some stadium documentaries. So there's a lot of things that are in the works here. Yeah.
YouTube, give a quick tour of the atmosphere. So you can actually do recaps, and then stuff like that, little short recaps. You can actually go 3 minutes on the reels now on YouTube. So that'll be something. You can do a quick recap or just do a whole show when you have a free minute,
Exactly. And I have photo, you're showing my photos. I got photos of every stadium. So you can do a 3 minute. This year I did things that was called a 2-minute tour, where I just walked around for 2 minutes and filmed a little bit and people like that. So it's more of my it's hard when you go to 100 games, you get presented with opportunities, but you don't have any time to jump on. And then the off season, you have all this time and people aren't thinking about you as much, so this is when I need to build it up. And so that's what I got to do. But no, Kat, I definitely agree with your idea. The stadium tours, the atmosphere, showing that off. I think people are looking for that kind of content, and I need to capitalize on it.
Most definitely, man. If people are using your videos, monetizing on TikTok, oh no, bro, you gotta capitalize. That's money, you're leaving out there. Do that. And all season, you got some more time now. So if you're thinking about coming to a spring game, A-Day for Alabama, you got to come to A-Day. Yeah, you got to come to A-Day.
I accidentally showed up at A-Day like 2018. I just walked in, they had it, and I didn't even know. But yeah, I've been to 2 games at Bryant-Denny. 2017, they played LSU, and that was awesome. That was my first year traveling, and I had done. It was Troy on a Thursday, and then it was UAB at Legion Field at noon, and then LSU Alabama at 7:00. And I was just blown away by that. And then 2022, I did the Iron Bowl versus Auburn. And Auburn,
I was there too.
Yep. Yeah, they're down bad right now. It did rain that day. They're down bad and it rained, but it's still great. But yeah, A-Day. People are starting to put out publish their spring dates. So yeah, I'd love to do it. And I need to get to a non-COVID game at Auburn. That's still on my list. And I would always go back to Bryant-Denny. Yeah.
Well, the Iron Bowl's in Auburn this year. I mean, if you want to do that, but A-Day most definitely, when they put the date out, if I see it before you, I'll let you know. You can make plans for that. I'll be there, man. We can link up there. So
and I try to do, I know there's college baseball that's big during that time, and try to hit up multiple things. I want to do that. Was that Rickwood Field? I want to check that out for some game.
I went. I'm telling you. Okay,
Did you go?
Yes, Juneteenth. So that was a big experience. The Rickwood Field thing. It was awesome, bro. I walked right past Big Poppy and A-Rod and Jeter. They walked right past them.
Because they got that studio show.
Man, dog. It was so many, it was just great. Like, you definitely need to, if they do it again, I think they will, because it was a big success this past year. I think going there, doing the Rickwood game, do that.
I would love to. Like I said, dude, off season, there's plenty of opportunities to do these bucket list things. So I would love to time it out with that.
Okay, and I see you already starting next year. I saw you posted about the week 0 already. You trying to get it in already?
Well, the Kansas knocked down their stadium, and so this is a whole giant renovation. And for me to, week 0 right now, there's only 3 announced games. There's the Ireland game, there's Hawaii, which I usually go to, but Kansas, to get a renovated stadium, you want to check it out. So yeah, I threw it out there. Last year I did the same thing, Oregon versus Hawaii, and then Oregon backed out of the game because Hawaii didn't have a big stadium. And so I don't expect it to stick, but man, I want to, put it out there and everybody, make their plans, and maybe we could connect at the game if it actually works out.
Okay. Awesome, man. Man, I appreciate you for, giving me time to interview you and get questions from my people. Great, man.
Absolutely.
When I'm telling you, when I saw you, I was like, wait a minute, I know this guy. And I was like, yeah, Turkey Day Classic. But that was cool, man, to be able to follow you, seeing everything that you do, what you doing, me being a big football fan, especially love going to the games. You, my friend, you live vicariously through all of the people who don't go to the games.
I appreciate it. And that's honestly, we're the same. And the only difference is I'm going and doing it in different places, but we have the exact same mentality. We want to be at as many games as possible. We don't care if it's, the number 1 team versus the number 2 team. It doesn't have to be at the 100,000 seat stadium. We love football. And that's no matter, I go to games in the Dakotas. I go to the games in the Northeast. I go to the games in the South. I've gone to games in Hawaii. You always have that card to get in everywhere if you're a football fan. And so you just talk to people next to you and there's instant conversation. So I love it. I'm grateful. I hope I can keep going. Part of the off-season agenda is work on some sponsorships, but no, I appreciate you following me. Had a great time in Montgomery, and I want to get out to Alabama and get a show like you. That's what I got to do.
Yeah. Man, come back, man. Definitely come to Bryant-Denny. Definitely get back to ASU Stadium. If you got time this spring, the Birmingham Stallions, they play in UAB State Protective Stadium. Have you been to Protective?
So I went to the grand opener. They played Liberty in 2021. So I went there, but I have not been back since. And also, you brought up the UFL or whatever it's called now. I never saw a game at the St. Louis Rams Dome, that Edward Jones Dome. So I'd love to try to do both of those at the same time. So yeah, I need to get back out. And they were the best team last year, right? Didn't they win the championship, Birmingham?
3P, baby. We got 3 in a row.
Yeah. So I need to see it. And I know some of those guys in the end zone section that take their shirts off and kind of go crazy during the game. I know some of them. So
okay, hell yeah. Yeah. So if you get a minute, look at the schedule. If you can come out here to one of those games, come on, because I definitely gonna catch me a couple of them.
Yeah, no, it's there's Arena League football, there's UFL football, there's Canadian football. We're gonna try to replace it and fill the void during the off season. So I will definitely let you know if I can make it out for one of those.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, Michael, for joining me tonight, man. Thank you, chat, for keeping the conversation going. Follow this man, CFB Campus Tour, on Twitter, Instagram. Is that it?
That's it right now.
Okay. Yeah, we about to work on this YouTube thing and get you back on TikTok or whatever. You got to get that money for all those obstructive views, and you have a calendar for sale, right?
That's what I was going to say. So I have an obstructive view calendar. It's on Etsy. If you go on Twitter, it's the link on my profile. And today I have a little surplus. I have like 100 left over that I ordered, and I lowered the price from $30 to $15. So $15, you get a calendar, you put it up in the office. I got one seat. There's a DJ in the end zone that blocks the view sitting behind her. I got Tiger Stadium. There's a big flagpole blocking. I got North Carolina. There's a rusty pipe blocking. So it's just fun, and it's only $15. So if anybody wants to grab that, that's there. But other than that, those are the places: Twitter, Instagram, mostly Twitter, but Instagram, that's where companies look. And if you have a good looking page and you have a decent amount of followers, you're going to get presented with some opportunities. So those two right now.
We're gonna get you that Buc-ee's. You got to get that Buc-ee's sponsorship, man.
Oh man, I got the gear.
You got the gear. You got the gear with the famous people. Listen, Buc-ee's, they need to holler at you. We need to make that work, because I need me some sponsorship too. So
yes.
You got TickPick, so that's awesome.
Yeah, no, we can do it, and I'm telling you, we got a good angle. You're from Alabama, and I'm from California, and you can show me the ropes, and I'm fascinated with the whole Buc-ee's. The Buc-ee's culture. So
I love me some Buc-ee's. We got a bunch of Buc-ee's all over the state of Alabama, dude. So I mean, I got a Buc-ee's that's like 45 minutes in Auburn away from me. It's right there. Sometimes I just ride the Buc-ee's and go get some and come back home.
I want to leave California just for the convenience stores, which sounds stupid, but
y'all got Wawa and 7-Eleven and stuff like that over there.
Nothing like that. You got this like Walmart and Costco on steroids. So yeah, never seen that many gas pumps in my life.
Like 200 pumps.
That's crazy.
It's awesome, man. But man, thank you for joining me tonight, man. Thank you, everybody. Absolutely. I appreciate y'all for joining us. As always, follow the channel, like this video, share it, subscribe. Go follow my guy Michael Barker, man. CFB Campus Tour. It's JB, and we out of here, y'all. Much love. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.